one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Let's go.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the Unfuck It discussion for June 14th. Fucking another month is just like fucking racing by, like seriously, like racing fucking by. Yeah, that's what I said, Marlene. I was like, it can't possibly be the middle of June already. I have, and it's so funny because time has done these bizarre warps, and yet it feels like it's been months since you guys, like the Those Who Want Fuckers group, left. It feels like it's been months since you've been gone, and yet fundamentally it's only been like just 2 weeks, just over 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's only been 2.5 weeks you guys left, but it feels like months. And yet then all of a sudden you look at it, you go, it's June, and how can it be freaking June already? It's like time has become this strange, warped out thing that no longer seems to function anymore. So I didn't have any really planned conversations today until basically all the kind of shit that's been playing out recently, like in the Unfuckers room, where like people are seemingly losing. Okay, Quinlan, you cannot stand there and swing your doohickey on the middle of the game. Seriously, swing it over there, but not just one little thing spinning in the corner. So it seems like people are losing their shit all over the fucking place, and it seems like, I mean, programming is being made really, really visible, but also agendas seem to be getting made really, really visible. It's weird. It's been fucking weird. And what has struck me is the fact that, guys, can you do me a favor? We're getting some feedback. If you're not talking, can you make sure you're muted? Just because we're getting some weird feedback coming in from the speakers. John, maybe you can just mute everyone else. I don't know if you can do that or not. Assume it's been a little strange today again. Yeah, it was a strange. I didn't get into it in Conspicuous Views very much, other than to say it was fucking strange weekend. But it's kind of like we got through the weekend, and then all the reports start coming in from everyone, and it was so many people had like a heavy weekend, like heavy energies. We here in this household and everyone around me, and I mean literally everyone around me, extremely agitated, extremely like short-tempered, easily triggered, highly sensitive. Like I was like so noise sensitive this weekend that there were so many times I was just literally like, I can't hear anyone anymore because just background ambient noise was so much that I literally couldn't. Oh, right, I'm not recording. I'm not recording. John, can I have permission to record, please? Oh, thank you. And we're not going to start the show over again. I just forgot to hit record. We only missed the first 2 minutes anyways. So, yeah, like highly sensitive to every bit of incoming pieces of information, like whether it was sound, whether it was visual, whether it was emotional, mental. And I spoke to a shitload. And for a while, I thought, is this like seriously like some kind of bizarre frequency weapon going on over here in Malta? Because everyone here was the same. It was like the whites of their eyes were showing for the entire weekend of like, oh my God, I just want to like. But I talked to people all over the place, people around Europe, people in Australia, people in North America, and there was a lot of people got hit with this unbelievable heavy energy. And then the fallout, and I don't know, I'm calling it the fallout right now, but the fallout seems to be that Monday, Tuesday, everyone was done, like baked, as in brain dead, incapable of thinking, incapable of doing anything, incapable of putting sentences together. I had people, I was trying to have a conversation Monday, and I literally could not put a sentence together. It was a good thing it wasn't Sunday night for the show, because it would have been a real funny show, because I literally couldn't formulate sentences and keep them in my head long enough to finish the sentence. And I got the same thing over the course of the last 2 days. Everyone, it's like there was the same kind of thing where everyone seemed to have had this, like they were exhausted completely, but an exhaustion on a level of a whole exhaustion. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't just physical exhaustion. It wasn't just mental exhaustion or emotional. It was like this all-encompassing exhaustion. And I talked to so many people who went through exactly that same thing, like really agitated, on edge all weekend, and then the Monday, Tuesday, completely wiped out. It was really fucking strange, like to an extreme, and we're all getting used. Like strange has now become the norm these days. Like literally, it's like the more strange it gets, the more normal it seems to become. But this weekend and the last 4 days was strange, even for like in the unfuckers realm of normal. It was fucking strange, and we're watching it play out. We're watching it play out. Like if anyone was in the unfuckers group on Facebook, you saw the fucking fallout of this week of weird reactions from people. Weird, just people losing it, losing the shit. And I mean, there's a few people in the unfuckers room who even said, I just lost my shit yesterday, and I'm really, really sorry. I have no idea what even triggered me. It was like one post, and it was yeah, jailing, and that's it. They're not even making sense. Like I'm sorry. I mean, the one yesterday, I know I got a shitload of messages about the whole blow up yesterday. And I woke up to like, because that happened, of course, in the middle of my night. And I woke up to like my entire message board on Facebook was like right across the bottom of my screen, and people going, oh my God. It was like, oh my God, what fucking happened this time? And people are like, are you okay? I'm like, what am I okay about? Like, what have I done this time? It's like, so apparently I'm a tranny. Go figure. And no, seriously, Jenny, I know Jenny's going to wet herself. She's laughing so hard. I swear to God, someone actually called me a tranny. And you talk about, again, disjointed, right, Jalen? Like the conversation, the lashing out was completely disjointed. There was no continuity to it. It was as if someone was literally just like diarrhea, like verbal, and with no rhyme or reason behind it. I did have a moment where it was before I was caffeinated this morning, in my defense, but I did have a moment where I thought I might just go and post all my childbirth photos on her page. I'd be like, there you go. See, not a tranny, just saying. But I thought that might have been a little gruesome, even in even in my realms of the kind of shit that I do pull. There's a lot of shit coming up, and a lot of agendas are really being seen. Like, and I don't know if it's just that we've gotten to a stage where we're able to see through all the bullshit to see the agenda that much faster? Or is it that these guys are now acting out in such a way that you just can't miss the agenda? It's like, it's just screaming everywhere. And there's this massive attack going on in the alternative media of people attacking everyone and attacking each other. And it's this against that and that against, and it's, like there's, and it just feels to me like this is another one of those, like an energetic kind of push of transparency coming out of like people have just got to look at their shit and kind of work through their shit. It's like it's being made so freaking huge now that you can't ignore it anymore. And it's funny because I talked about this a while ago, and I said, many years ago, and I said, when you ignore the shit, when you ignore the shit that's being put in front of you to look at, it just comes back bigger and bigger and bigger until it gets to the point where it plays out in such a way that you can no longer ignore it. Like if you can't, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it is so extreme that you just can't ignore whatever it is that's in front of you. And that's what it feels like right now. Oh, Karen, your puppy is so cute. There's a little puppy belly on. There we go. It's like now the shit has gotten so extreme that you just can't miss it. And not just in the interactions that we have, like it's not just alternative media and everyone seems to be like going into full vampire mode and attacking each other and all the rest of it. But I mean, in politics, in finance, in like everything right now has become so in your face. And I've joked and said, we keep asking for transparency. Well, I think we've just reached epic levels of transparency now where like it's just everything. The false flag attacks, like I actually laughed. Someone posted in the Unfuckers room about, so what do you guys think about that shooting in DC? And all the comments come back, we're all like, what shooting in DC? Because it's like you glaze over and it's like, oh, another false flag attack. What's on TV tonight? Just like can we, it just, you see it immediately for what it is. And everyone's just like, I just don't care. I just don't care. Just don't care. And the politics and all the bullshit that's going on and the media is trying to hype up this whole shit going on in the Middle East, shit going on with Trump, shit going on with Trudeau, I mean, you name it. And of course, Theresa May and all the fucking British elections and all the rest of it. And it just seems like most of the awake community is sitting around right now going, yeah, don't fucking care. Don't fucking care. Sorry, just so not interested. Don't even want to play with it. So it's gotten to extreme portions, like trying to get us to interact, trying to get us to get people to fucking see it. So anyway, let's start with that conversation. What do you guys think? Has everyone lost their fucking shit today? Or is everyone is it literally a sign of complete insanity? Or are we just the same ones who can see it?
I think that we are the ones that just can see the BS, like it's there and everyone else is blind because they haven't awoken yet. But when they awake, they're gonna be like, holy shit, what is all this going on?
But this is the thing, even people who are what I would consider to be like seriously mainstream, not awake at all, are now starting to go, wait a second, this is, what the hell? I had a friend of mine in England over the whole thing with the British elections, who's again, so mainstream, so extremely mainstream. And her comments on Facebook, I was like, oh, that's too funny. I'm so glad that she can see it now, and she's like shaking out of it and going, oh my God, what the hell just happened? That was just ridiculous. Is that the point of it? I've hypothesized this for
I think it is.
Just to make it that ridiculous.
Yeah, it has to be balls in your face ridiculous. Like, look at that building that was, I believe that was deliberately set on fire. Right?
I laughed my ass off over that one this morning, girl. That was the very first thing that came up for me this morning. I turned on the computer. Massive skyrise in London, England. Oh, the building's burning, and there's like live feeds everywhere, burning, huge building. And I'm like laughing. I'm going, okay, wait. They don't know if anyone's been injured. They don't have a head count. They don't know if there's people inside. They're pretty sure people are inside, but they don't know. They don't know how. It's like, we don't know this, and this, but we know that it started in a fridge. A faulty fridge on the 4th floor.
Okay,
Really.
that's like,
You
how
don't
do
know
you
if,
even know that?
you don't know if there's anyone been killed. You don't have a body count. You don't know if there's anyone stuck in the building, but you know it started on the 4th floor with the refrigerator.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
For me, over the weekend, like, I wasn't moody or angry, but I was tired. Like I had to sleep multiple times during the day just to feel functional. Yeah.
That's been me and I actually never in the last 4 days, every day by 10 o'clock in the morning, I'm like, oh, this is going to be a nap day. I am going to have to take a nap.
Mhm.
And none of the 4 days I actually managed to get a nap. It just wasn't in the cards. I just couldn't even find time to go lay down. But yes, I know exactly what you mean. Like just exhaustion, like, oh my God, just let me go lay down. I just need to go lay down.
Anyway, I'm gonna mute myself and let someone else have a turn talking.
Yeah, guys. I don't know. Insanity frickin' everywhere. Yeah, Maury, yeah, I agree. Buttons are being pushed all over the place. But why? When we talk about the personal buttons now, I'm talking about like the people who we've seen in our personal lives losing their fucking shit. Or like, you know, what we saw have seen and watched play out over and over again in the last 3 weeks in the Unfuckers room. I don't think we've gone 2 or 3 days without there being a fucking massive blow up of someone somewhere. Why? Is it just the I hate using the word over and over again. You going to bed? You're gonna try again? Okay. You could go to sleep. Is it just wild energies? Like just quite literally the energies, the frequencies, etc. around us have just been so insane that we get triggered by all kinds of stuff. Is it internal? I.e., what we're all experiencing internally that is then expressing itself externally around us, or even in our own reality. Do you know what I mean? Like, because literally, if you look at is it the chicken and the egg thing? Is it the external around us that's causing us to all people to like have all these moments, or is what we're seeing in the external reality that reflection of what everyone's going through internally? Yeah, Maury, I agree. Maury just said, "What for me? It's pretty evident the fucking game is nearly finished, and the final act is nearing completion." Yeah, that's my dearest hope. Literally, that's where I keep going. That's why I try to put my attention to is like this is what it is. It's just this all this massive amount of shit playing out and being exposed, and it's yeah.
Hey,
But
Danny.
hello,
Hey,
sweetie.
can I say something?
Of course you can.
I don't think this is all negative. I don't think it's a lot. I don't think it has to do with all this fuckery. I think what we are doing is, well, magical. Let's use the word magic. We are manifesting these changes. We're demanding transparency. We're controlling this. And you know, when change first happens, everything works on cycles. And so when you're moving out of one cycle into another one, there's constant chaos. And this chaos is, well, its name, chaos. There's not much sense to it. You just kind of go with the flow and move into this manifesting cycle that's happening. I see it escalating. And you were talking about time earlier, how time is so warped, and it really is. It's I was thinking, how's this happening? I was trying to comprehend it yesterday because I have, the clocks on the computer, but I have battery operated powered clocks. So how is the time warping to where all these clocks are accurate? Or sure, it's off by a few minutes, but how is this time? Time is warping. You can put.
But is it time warping, or is it our perception of time that's warping, which is why the clocks don't really show?
Yeah. So yeah, this is where I'm at right now, because there are days that it seems like there were only 8 hours, yet the sun came up, the sun set, but I could only get maybe 2-3 things done. Then other times it almost feels like 24 hours long, and I was able to get so much in, and I'm so exhausted. And so what's happening? What is happening with time? And I think we can figure this out as a group.
On a certain level, I think we all intrinsically know, or feel anyways, that time is part of the construct. Whatever you want to call this reality, whether physical construct, a matrix construct, a computer hologram, whatever the fuck we want to call it, that time is part of that. It's part of the structure of it. Linear time, we'll say. And it feels to me that as the more we see that reality, this reality, seemingly crumbling and falling apart, time is part of that. And can't help but see that it's just, like you say, it goes faster, it goes slower, then it goes faster again, and it stretches out. It's almost like an elastic, right? It's like here's it's relaxed, but then you stretch it really, really, really far, and then it snaps back, and it kind of almost bubbles. You know how an elastic will then, it'll kind of bow together as it snaps back together again. And I wonder if that's kind of like the bubbles where all of a sudden you lose 2 hours. And you turn around, you're like, I did it this morning. Nick showed up from work for lunch. And I was like, I looked at the clock and was like, it's 11:30. How did that happen? It's not fucking possible that it could be 11:30 already, because I talked with John this morning. We got some stuff done and some discussion, got some stuff organized. And then I was designing a brochure for Gaia's Gardens. And then I said, it was 11:30 in the morning. And there's no possible way that 2-3 hours had gone by while I was, designing a brochure. And yet, because the brochure is not done. So, as a matter of fact, nothing of it's done. So apparently I spent 2-3 hours designing a brochure that unmanifested itself as quickly as I was creating it.
Well, and is the time, does it have to do with the timelines themselves? Because timelines are overlapping. They're coming in, they're going out, they're moving in. They're, I think Now, this is only my theory, okay? This is something that I think happened, and I'm not sure if it happened in 2000 or if it happened in 2012. What I think happened is that we were pushed out of our timeline, our comfort timeline, our timeline that we knew. We were pushed far, at least a quarter of the way into another timeline, and these timelines are like a coax cable. All these wires together, you know. So it's each one is a timeline, and so I think we got pushed out, and we're naturally coming back because it can't stay there. And so we're coming back to it, and we're seeing all these timelines. It's like a friggin' movie, Danny, you know, that you see all the special effects. It's just like that. It's like one day you're seeing this, and then within a few hours you're here, and it's just all this meshing back and forth. And that's why I had to stay off of Facebook. I had to isolate myself because I was listening to everybody else, and it wasn't correlating with what I was going through, but some of it did, and it was almost like it was confusing me to the point I couldn't cement where I need to.
You know, it's really funny because I read your post and I sat there and I thought to myself, it's so interesting because I've had multiple moments. Now, I've been really, really busy for the last 2 weeks, and I have not been spending very much time in any of the unfuckers groups. I just haven't been able to. And yet I keep walking in and feeling like disjointed from the conversation, as if a week's conversation has gone by and I've missed an entire week of conversations. And then, you know, it was like you go away on vacation, and then you got to play catch up to try and figure out. So, okay, what happened? And you went, oh, and then so-and-so moved, and then so-and-so, and you try and play that kind of catch up. That's what it's felt like, even though I've only been gone sometimes only 18 hours.
Yes. It was very confusing. So I isolated myself, and it just kind of, it was weird how I just kind of cocooned myself. I even got those, you know, the shooter muffs, that quiet gun, you know, and
Yep. I know, the noise canceling headphones.
Yeah, and I slept with those, and I found I could dream again, even though I didn't always remember them. So there's some external something coming at us that kind of hinders us as well. But when I'm in a more controllable timeline now, and everything came in with me except for these changes. Like my dad was dying in the last timeline. Well, he's fine now. He's stable. He's going good. But my daughter, who had is doing great in life, and I'm so proud of her, and I love her so much. And here she's struggling with depression. What the hell? What? And it was just like that, one day here and the next day here.
Well, it's interesting because we've had, and it does seem to almost come in waves, where people will be, all of a sudden, people in their lives are just radically changed. And like you said, it's like a blink of an eye, their personality radically shifts, or their health radically shifts. Or now, the one thing I thought,
what?
I don't know what that was. That was just wild. In the Unfuckers room in the last week, we have had at least 4 people post about someone close to them either committing suicide or attempting to commit suicide in the last week. just in the Unfuckers group alone. And I sit there and think, all these overwhelming energies, all this overwhelming emotional, mental, and if you're, I don't know, I just wonder about how, if you're someone who is perfectly fine, and then all of a sudden it's like your reality switches, like just snap, and all of a sudden you're deeply depressed, or you're, seriously, Stacy?
Oh my God.
Oh my God, Stacy. Holy shit. I just think that how horrific, or, you know, vice versa, you come into, and all of a sudden you find out that your partner, your father, your mother, your sister is suddenly dying, or is suddenly completely lost the plot, or completely switched personalities. And we've seen a lot of that in the last, like, it just seems to be ramping up. And it seems to come in waves where all of a sudden we don't really discuss it very much in the Unfuckers room. And then all of a sudden there'll be like 4 or 5 people all within like a week or two of each other, all going, oh my God, I don't know who this person is, but apparently it's my husband. And this is not the man that I know, but I don't, you know, or mom, dad, sisters.
What do you think about when we are merging with these timelines? Are we merging? Are we flowing through them and picking up our other in that timeline and kind of merging together, and that might be creating some of this, or when we go through each timeline, are we dealing with our connections in that timeline, which are different? There's so many different possibilities.
And that, oh, I totally hear you. And that's why I've said we've hypothesized for years now about the fact of like the whole idea of fractals, and as almost like as these timelines are merging, that we are absorbing fractals of ourselves, other experiences, etc., which can absolutely could explain some of the extreme shifts in personalities that we've witnessed. But do we know? Is it accurate? I mean, this is the whole thing. Like we can only theorize on stuff like this because we really can't frickin' know.
I'm going to mute. My animals have decided to eat and chew bones and everything. So sorry, guys.
No problem. So we're just having there's a conversation in chat right now talking about suicides and young people. And Carl, you brought up our First Nations in Canada, and I'm sure it's the same in the States too. But I know in First Nations in Canada, there's several communities now that are an extreme case of emergencies because the under 20 suicide rates have skyrocketed in the last couple of years. And I mean, horrifically skyrocketed. I'm not talking a little bit or 1 or 2. I'm talking when one of the, it reached the news, would have been early 2016, about one of the communities in Northern Ontario. And they had something ridiculous, like 35% of the young people on the reservation under the age of 20 had either committed suicide or attempted to commit suicide within the last year. Now, when you're talking those kind of numbers, it's like, holy shit. So what's going on? And then we went and we started looking at things like HARP towers and HARP and the use of the Gwen towers, sorry, and frequency stuff. Is it something that's being pumped into the water supply? Is it, I mean, or is it a symptom that goes beyond that? I had a conversation with a journalist actually back in 2011. And I was interviewed by this journalist, and he was actually writing his thesis paper, and it was psychology major, and he was doing this paper on teens and depression and suicides in the area of Ontario that I lived in. I lived in a little town called Brantford, Ontario, which is literally shit hell nowhere, Ontario. And someone's mixing something. John, can you do a mute all?
Maybe.
Charlene, can you mute, please? Oh, there we go. And in our area, they had one of the highest rates of teen pregnancy, one of the highest rates of teen drug abuse, highest rates of teen alcoholism, highest rates of teen suicides. And I had this really interesting conversation with this young guy. And one thing I said to him, I said, but look, the kids here know that there's nowhere for them to go. There's no work. And where this town is situated, it makes it just slightly impossible to drive anywhere. Well, you could drive if you could afford a car, then you'd be okay. But if you have to take the bus, it's like 45 minutes to get to Hamilton, 45 minutes to Kitchener, or 55 minutes to get to Guelph. It's an hour and a half to get to Toronto. So basically, if you were stuck in this town, you've got nowhere fucking to go, nowhere to get a job, because there's no jobs in the town. So if you're a young person, it was like literally, exactly, Stacy, being stranded on a desert island. You might as well be, because getting a bus ticket, the Greyhound ticket to get from Brantford to Hamilton was like $20. Well, what kid can afford $20 if you're broke to go to a job interview somewhere out of town and then be able to afford to move? And I said, these kids know. They have zero voice. None of the adults take them seriously. They have no voice politically. They have no voice spiritually. They're not taken seriously in the communities, in the churches, etc. They have no voice within their families, because most of their families are in hard situations themselves. Mom and dad's both working, etc., etc. This whole generation has no fucking voice, and they know they have no fucking voice. Is that why we're seeing massive? Is it one of those things where, like, literally the fuck-uppery of the insanity of the global, political, financial, economic, on top of all the rest of the energies, are so heavy that they can't, there's nothing for them. And I wonder about the First Nations communities, especially if you're communities that are raised to have a certain respect for the earth, a certain respect for certain missions, even in a quasi-spiritual sense, that if you're raised in that culture and then you realize you've got nowhere to fucking go. And in these communities on the reservations, I mean, they're literally, these kids have got fucking nowhere to go. No hope of ever escaping from the drudgery. Yeah, like, you've got to just wonder, is that it? Or is it more to it? I mean, is it more to it in the fact that these kids are just like, yeah, I don't need to be here anymore, and just clocking out, literally being like, I don't need to be here, so I'm just going to leave. And I've heard these kind of conversations happening amongst younger people in chat forums and things like that. And there's no fear. It's not like it's like, oh, I'm going to go to, it's not like the older generations where they were afraid of hell and hellfire and you're going to burn in hell forever and all the rest of it. Did they just be like, yeah, you know, I'm done. I'm just gonna fucking leave, because there's really no use even bothering anymore. Yeah, and not afraid of death anymore at all. No, and that's exactly, Maury, I get it, and I totally get that. Maury just said they would have everyone believe that we're all, every single one of us, victims. I do not buy it at all, and I expect I'm not the only one who takes that position. Yes, same with me. Fucking, I'm not a victim. I refuse to accept that fucking title on any way, shape, or form, right? But there's also times when we have to look at the situations around certain things as well and go, some of these kids, some of these people, they are victims. They're victims of society. I mean, this is, Anne and I had this fucking conversation, I don't know, February, March, April, before, something like that, about the vaccines, the chemtrails, and all of this kind of shit that has been put on a generation. And well, generation on top of generation on top of generation. And we look at the generational fuckery that has happened genetically because of the chemical. And I mean, in that way, there are victims. And in that way, some of these kids are just literally fucked up because of literally the society around them. And some of them aren't. Some of them are fucking awesome kids who just, they rise above it. But this is the thing, like, I don't know. I have a lot of questions about that. And I wish I had fucking answers. The whole vaccine thing right now has gotten just fucking insane. Someone just asked me for information. They're trying to force like to go to high school. Kids need a meningococcal booster. And I'm like, what, you mean polio? Because that's what all they're doing is injecting you with basically polio. Because that's what it is. And it's like, they just keep pushing the vaccines and pushing the vaccines and pushing the vaccines. It's just ridiculous. Okay, Deb, was that this Sunday, Monday, that NASA did the fucking chemtrail fucking blow up thing? That was this.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't know if this works correctly. And I got a
You
weird.
got it. We can hear you.
Okay. Yeah. It was this Sunday where they douched the whole East Coast and everything else, and they were saying there's going to be pretty clouds.
I was like, oh great, let's all watch live the chemtrails.
The ingredients had just about everything from in the chemtrails, and didn't see what all else was in there. Not that I know my chemistry at all. You know, cooking, yes. Chemicals, no. And it was just, it's safe. They were going, oh, and it's perfectly safe. And we were just going, oh, F you, you know. I need a bitch slap button in my on our television and computer.
Yep, bitch slap.
Yep. Yep, we're right upside the back of the head.
No, oh, I hear you on that one. No, did someone say?
I had posted that.
Was it canceled, or did it go ahead? Does anyone know if for sure they did go ahead with it? Because I know one of them was canceled or was delayed or something.
Yeah, no, I thought it was Sunday. Oh, I'll mute. Sorry.
No problem. Jailing. So I think you can see it. She's busy scrambling, trying to find out. Is it through Jack? I gotta verify this. Gotta verify this. Mad Tom, you're up to bat. Did or did they not chem bomb the fucking East Coast on Sunday night? Well, this is okay. This is, yeah. So like dust. There's more dust. Like I was joking about this when the guys were here. I'm saying like fucking. I had to dust the house when I was a kid. It's one of my household chores growing up, right? Like it was like every Saturday, one of my jobs was I had to dust all the bookshelves, all the tables, all the little knickknacks, all that fucking crap. And there's no, we did not have the fucking dust that we have now. Like, and I mean, you can say, okay, it's environmental pollutions and, you know, blah, 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 blah. No. Like the dust now is just freaking insane. Completely freaking insane. So, I don't know. I have no answers. It's all fucking full of bullshit. And we wash walls too. Yeah, that was about once every 2 months. I'd have to get up and wash all the walls. I was always in trouble and I yell at my kids, but unfortunately, one of my kids is asleep or is awake, so she's probably listening in. But I used to get in trouble because I used to do handstands and then leave big foot marks up on the walls. And now my kids do it, and I yell at them. Oh, what are you doing? Leaving dirty footprints on the wall. But I used to do it as a kid too. But I never. Yeah.
That launch has been scrubbed a couple of times, and looks like they're going to reschedule for Thursday because they've got bad weather.
Oh, so it was scrubbed. So no pretty clouds yet. So are they just trying to prepare everyone for it? Like trying to build the excitement? Oh, yeah. Oh, we didn't get to see the pretty clouds tonight. Okay, next Thursday. Yay. Is like you almost wonder if it's a psychological thing, like they just try and get people excited about it. Oh, what a shame. They had to cancel it.
Yeah, sorry, just reading through the page, quite a few updates. In fact, I'll post it and then other people can view it.
Yeah, because everyone wants to watch fucking live fucking footage of chemtrails going up all over the fucking place. So this brings me into something else I wanted to talk about. And that is, and we touched on this on Sunday, and that is the breathing thing right now. A lot of people are coughing, and it doesn't matter whether you're a smoker, a non-smoker, an ex-smoker, whether you're young, you're old, you have asthma, you don't have asthma, you're healthy, you're not healthy. It doesn't seem to matter. Everyone has got this nasty. Look, Groot's moved up off the floor now. He's going to take his pew up on the chair. There you go, Groot. Go back to sleep. Done. Everyone's got this cough, and it's like this thick, wheezy, hacky cough, and it's not going away. It doesn't get any worse, but it's not going away. And well, Mercedes, that's what I said, because just before all you guys arrived in Gozo, we noticed there was what felt to be a definitive change in the chemtrails, and the fact of all of a sudden everyone got sick, everyone got congested, everyone got this stuff. But I don't know that it was the chemtrails. And this is why when Ben came on and Ben was talking about the whole thing with the nitrogen, and unfortunately we lost Ben. He got his internet completely capped out on him. We are going to have a conversation with him, Ben, myself, Nick, and Carl, and we will record it to dig into that further. But okay, so this is the thing. Marlena, you're kind of going where I'm thinking. Are we looking at an actual change in the atmosphere? Like an actual change to the air that we're breathing that is causing people to hack and cough. And like I said, it doesn't matter if you're a smoker or not a smoker. And the doctors are going to the smokers, it's just smoker's cough. And if not, they're coming up with something else. Like, oh, well, you've got allergies. That's the other one. Oh, well, you must be allergic to something, which is just a crock of shit, because you don't have an entire populations right all over the world all of a sudden seemingly develop allergies, whether you're in the northern hemisphere or the southern hemisphere, right? So we've got this cough. It doesn't go away. It doesn't get any worse. I know I'm not fucking sick. I'm not even remotely fucking sick, but I have this congestion. It's like you can feel like it's like you've got goo in your sinuses. And you blow your nose, you blow your nose, you blow your nose. It doesn't matter. You can't get rid of it. And it's in your chest. And and you have to, to try and clear your chest out. So are we looking at a change environmentally? Or, Marlena said it, have we had a change in our lungs? Like we're talking Mandela effect stuff, and like so one of these physiological changes in the lungs. And you had your hand up? I didn't even realize that your hand was up. I'm sorry, just unmute yourself. And I couldn't see it.
Yeah, I can't even remember what I was going to say. It had something to do with suicide, I think, and Anyway, that's past now, but yeah, that's a big conversation we could do with having, like, what we can do to help help those younger kids, because they're having a heck of a time. The cough, I personally don't have it, which is funny because I smoke. Or you could say it's funny because I smoke. And I think it's for me, it's very hard to know whether it's environmental or whether it's because our physiology is changing. But certainly, generally speaking, I mean, the lungs are another big organ of detoxification. So if we are changing, if our whole body is changing on the inside, we must have to get rid of a whole load of crap. And so it could well be coming out the lungs for some people. For other people, I know it's coming out the skin. People have talked to me about having extreme sweats.
Oh yeah.
Whole body sweats for no good reason. And it's not to do with menopause or heat or anything, but just drenching sweats. And that's another sign of a big detox going on. So it's possible. Yeah, it's possible that it's to do with us just, upgrading our system, if you like, and getting rid of stuff we don't need anymore.
Well, because it's interesting. Okay, so the detoxing.
Yeah.
Is I get, and I'm going to use the horrible M word because I only use it because it's a word that everyone understands, and in this crew, anyways, Morgellons. Which is a ginormous misnomer, just like autism. And it's just a massive umbrella that they put over what I think is actually multiple different actual separate issues and problems, right? And I get times where it almost goes almost like an inlet. All of a sudden, I will start, my skin starts just pushing shit out, and I get, I pull crystals out of my body, little tiny, like little pieces of amber, and they're hard like glass, and I get them all the time. I shouldn't say I get them all the time, but when I get them, it's never one. It's always like all of a sudden there's a surge, and I start, you start pulling the crap, and you start getting things, and it starts off like a pimple, and I don't get pimples like on my back or stuff like that. And all of a sudden, like today, Nick, I think I was over work, he goes, "You have a huge pimple on your back." And I'm like, well, then fucking get it. Fucking get that thing. I can't see it or reach it. But when you get down to it, there's things that you find the fibers in, which I believe are like some kind of a nanofiber. And I personally have an opinion that they're due to being in the military and all the shit that they injected us with. But it comes in these waves where all of a sudden your skin gets just terrible. And you get what you might call pimples, and yet they're not pimples because they're not the same type of a thing. And you pull out different particles out, and that's the same thing. When I look at this and I go, okay, so here I am, I got a chest full of goo, I got a head full of goo, and my skin is shitting out particles everywhere. And it's not just your face or your back where you normally think of like pimples, but I mean like in the middle of my thighs or on my arms. I pulled about 3 pieces out of the back of my arm just last week. And same thing. And you go like, here we go again. And I can watch. And Nick is doing the same thing. And I pulled multiple pieces out of him in the last couple of weeks. So yeah, is it a detox? Because that's always been my kind of opinion, is that it's like our body goes through, again, using the term waves, but almost you just go through these cycles, maybe it would be a better word, where all of a sudden your body starts detoxing, and it's like heavy detox. Jailing, when I remove them, I have surgical extractors. So you can imagine a tweezer that comes to a needle fine point. It's like the finest needle points you can imagine, and I keep them sharp. I keep them filed and sharp to the, like, working with 2 little tiny pins. And I literally go, if it's something that's very, very surface, I literally go into the skin with them, and I will grab the particle and I will physically pull it out of my skin. sorry guys, I'm going to get really gross here for a second. If it's deep, which I get sometimes the really, really deep pustules that come up like a staph. And yet I know that I've dealt with so much staph over the last 20 years, staph infections, that I now know they look that way, but they don't react the same. They're like a staph, and it's different. And that's one of the ones that I think is actually one of the things that Morgellons is confused with. Is I think there's a certain type of staph that causes Morgellons, some of the Morgellons type reactions. Those I pack, and that's when I talk about cabbage. Cabbage is the number one thing. If you have any kind of skin infection, deep surface, doesn't matter. Get a thick part of the cabbage leaf, preferably non-GMO organic if you can get it, and just crush it a bit with like the back of a knife, and then apply it like a poultice over top of it, and it will draw all the infections out. And even when I've had really deep particles, it will pull the particles out. It will pull them right out. And hot salt water, right? Like if you've got a bad infection, just hot salt water packs continuously every hour on and off, and to draw it out to the surface. Then I put the cabbage on in between, and it makes a massive. Yes, Marlena, the cabbage actually worked really well on poison ivy and on stinging nettles. If you ever get stinging nettles, or you're silly enough like my son did last week to go try and pick a prickly pear without gloves, cabbage worked really well on those too. Yeah, so I think it is a detoxing, but I often wonder what the trigger is. Like, is it, because again, it's not just like my own personal cycle, like it's just happening to me. No, I'm actually, everyone around me has got the same cough. It's got the same, and digestive issues. So people are having like, sorry, gross, but strange bowel movements, diarrhea, or vice versa, back and forth between diarrhea and constipation. Yeah, definitely interesting. And the vision thing, okay. Vision is another thing that's just shifted for a lot of people. And it's either they've gotten better or it's taken another step and gotten worse. And it's the same type of thing. I went, you guys remember I talked about the drama of finally went to an eye doctor and I went and had an eye test done. And the guy told me I had perfect distance vision. I'm like, no, I don't. Trust me. Because I can't see fuck. And I got freaking stupid glasses that cost me, I don't know, 140 euros for a fucking pair of glasses. These are my reading glasses. And they do jack fucking shit. They do. Seriously, it's like, I've got like this one little sit there. If I hold my hands right there, they're perfect. And other than that, they really don't do. So I use them for sewing. And if I have to read the label on something, and that's pretty much it. So 140 euros down the fucking bucket. But my eyes have gotten, in the last few weeks, all of a sudden, it's like they've gotten worse. And suddenly gone. Like, I need one like that. The big ginormous. Okay, do you play badminton with that thing? Because seriously, that is the biggest magnifying glass I think I've ever seen.
Mine have gotten better, Marlena. I mean, Danny.
Yours have gotten better?
Yeah, like they got better, but I still need my reading glasses, but I feel they gotten better. Also, last night, so I'm looking at Mandela effect stuff. All of a sudden, I come across one about planes stopping in midair.
Yep.
In midair. It's like, what? Like, and this stuff is going back to like 2004 and 2007. Some of this videos of this stuff. It's like, okay, planes that don't have the hover capability should not be stopping in freaking midair and then somehow decide to take off again. It's like,
But I mean, is that like we say, like it's part of the computer construct, as in
Yeah.
like
I would
glitches?
say, yeah,
We've
it's
seen
in the programming.
Yeah, we've seen it here. We actually watched it, and I actually called my girl from Moosh and got her on their back balcony too. I was like, "There's a plane, and it's not moving." And you think, okay, well, it's becoming directly for me. So sooner or later, it's got to get bigger, right? No, it just wasn't moving.
And I'm like, Marlena, you're a pilot, right? Do planes normally just stop in midair? You know? She's like, no, planes do not do that. I mean, I can say if they were helicopters, sure, right? Just, them staying in one spot, but not a passenger jet.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
Anyway, I mean,
No, yeah, John, you're funny. John says his eyes are fine. It's his brain that's fucked. I asked John for a brain cell this morning because I couldn't find mine. And I thought if he was a nice guy, he would lend me one of his. But apparently, his were all missing in action too. So, I've had weird shit with my eyes, and it's just seemingly getting worse. And just I keep sitting there going, but the same thing, gunky eyes, and like you wake up in the morning and it's like you feel like your eyes are full of sludgy gunk, and I'm like, well, that's another your body shitting out shit, right? Like, is that not your eyes clearing when you start get thicker lubrication around the eyeball? It usually means that your eye's trying to protect itself from something, which is why it's automatically thickened whatever the liquids are.
Yeah, it could be. One of the things I wanted to say with regards to people losing their shit, as you would say, is that that can be a symptom of liver overload. You know, if you've had a bad hangover, how every little thing just absolutely drives you bananas. You know, if you can't do something immediately, or a noise, or, that is, so it could be a symptom of liver overload as well.
Oh, that's interesting, Anne. I'd never thought of that, but yeah, okay. Which would then also that's a detoxing then.
Yeah, it could be. And the other thing I wanted to say was about, that weird wind I was talking about. It's like a swirling wind. It's very unusual. Yeah. Wind can also cause people to lose their shit. The winds, the Mistral that blow in the south of Europe.
Yeah.
There used to be a dispensation. Those winds would drive people to want to kill people. And there was a time, I don't think it's still in place, but you could get a dispensation if you killed someone during the Mistral. Sirocco, Carl is saying. But the Mistral also.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well,
wind drives people out of their head as well.
And it's funny because remember when you guys were here and I said the fact we've had so much fucking wind. And you get to a point where, it becomes so annoying on a frequency level. It becomes almost like the noise of it becomes so overpowering and overwhelming that you're just literally like, oh, okay, the wind's just got to stop. Interesting because there's a lot of wind. Like there's a lot of people are experiencing a lot of wind all over the world.
Yeah. And we've had very unusual wind. It's not like coming from one direction, it's swirling. So it's very hard to, when a wind is coming from one direction, you can balance yourself or move yourself. But when it's gusting all around you, it's very difficult to hold your center, I suppose you could say. So, yeah, I was going to say to people, if you are, if you're interested in taking a homeopathic remedy, there are two remedies that you can take. One is sulfur and the other is nux vomica.
Oh, I have both of those.
Yeah. You take a sulfur in the morning and a nux vomica in the evening for about 10 days to 2 weeks. And that really helps to support the liver and detoxing. Helps to take the edge off the livery symptoms.
Okay.
That just might be useful for people. Those two remedies are easy to come by.
Yeah, they're in the mainstream of homeopathy, so they're not rare. You can get those just about anywhere. Okay, you know what? I'm going to give that a try.
Just careful about burping, though, Anne.
Yeah,
Especially
no
after
one
the
likes
sulfur.
burps. No one likes sulfur burps. Seriously, I have a dog who got into the hard-boiled eggs a few days ago. It was nasty, nasty. Ah. Okay, so if we're talking about detoxing then, there's certain things we can do. So things like, and I actually will start doing it. Unfortunately, it's not lemon season here right now, which kind of sucks. But doing the lemon drink, you do like the juice of half a lemon with a teaspoon of honey, and you do it first thing in the morning before you drink anything, before you eat anything, and then wait like a half hour before you kind of do anything else or eat anything else. I used to do that all the time, so maybe that's another good one to start. If we're looking at this as a detox.
Yeah, good idea.
Any other good ones? Some simple. Like, I mean, it's all great to say like we all should go on a fast. Yeah, it's not going to happen.
No.
So don't try to tell me I need to go on like a fast, because it ain't going to happen.
Danny, if you want to look at fasts, I actually do like them as well. But there's a book, actually there's a couple of different books that were published recently by Jason Fung. He does the Complete Guide to Fasting, and he actually has it right too, because he understands the glycemic index and what's happening with the body, and why we're actually all putting on weight and keeping weight on, and why diets don't work. And he's saying fasting is a good way to reduce weight, and it obviously detoxifies as well. But I have a copy of, I think, one of the books in PDF format, but you can probably find it online if you wanted to search yourself, and it's well worth reading, I think.
Well, maybe we'll see if we can put together a couple of kind of best out of this show, best remedies on detoxing. And if everyone can fire them off to me in messages, like, so Carl, you send me the link to the PDF if you know where it is, or if you can send me a copy of the PDF.
I'd have to send you a copy, I think, Danny, because
Okay,
I think it was a torrent. I think it was a torrent download from somewhere. So,
well, even give me the name, and because I can find anything usually like that. So if you give me the name of the guy, the guy's name and the name of the book, stuff like that. Yeah, you know what? The lactofermentation is another one. Like you start talking about, because I mean, Anne and I talked about it on the Transpicuous User. We talked all about the gut, and the fact that we're missing so much flora from our gut, and so talking about things like kefirs and like lactofermentation. That is a huge one. I've never done the lactofermentation, and I know that it's one that I really should get into. So, I mean, that's one of those things there. Maybe if someone's got a couple of good links to some information on that kind of aspect of it too, because I mean, when we talk about detoxing, it's very easy to only focus on a small piece. You know, detoxing the kidneys and the liver, but then you're not really looking at things. For example, your skin, right? So I'm kind of using a lot of essential oils on my skin right now to help detox through the skin.
Well, here's a good time to step in and say, hey guys, we need somebody to take over the wiki, because that's the perfect place for this information.
Yeah, I know. We still need someone to step up for the wiki. Yeah, no, exactly. This is one of those things, like a whole. Oh, you know, Jane. Yeah, the fluorescents. I used to use those years ago. Years and years and years ago. Oh, I hadn't thought about those. Yeah, kimchi. And good old-fashioned proper sauerkraut. I think it's got to be proper sauerkraut, right? Like done the good old-fashioned way. Diatomaceous earth is another really, really good one. Food grade diatomaceous earth. Also, even not diatomaceous earth. One of the clays, not the white clay. Is it bentonite that is good for the detoxing? I can't remember. I think it's bentonite that is really, really good for. And it don't taste very good unless you put it in a smoothie. If you put the diatomaceous earth or the bentonite in a smoothie, like something that's got like yogurt and it's a bit thicker to kind of suspend it, it's not so bad. It's not so bad. It's so bad. I have some Essiac tea. You know what? I don't mind the taste. I actually really like the taste of Essiac tea, and I've done that several times actually. I don't know if I have any of that left. Actually, I don't think I do have any Essiac tea left. I may have to look into getting that put together. Well, I mean, that's it. Deb, you have to do, someone just, Deb just said one brand of organic bentonite was contaminated with lead here in the States. Well, that's unfortunately, this is one of the issues that we have, is you have to do so much homework to make sure that what you're getting isn't, borax and coconut oil. I don't know about doing it as a suppository. I'm really not into suppositories, but okay. Oh, yeah. If you overdo the Essiac tea, yeah, it can be a bit much. I'm looking, is it on my shelf here? I have a book about how to take the Essiac tea, and it's very specific about what temperature the water should be when you make it, and how much to put in the cup and how long it takes for you to drink it. Like you should take 15 minutes, 20 minutes to drink the cup. You don't just slug it back. You go sip the cup over the course of like 20 minutes or a half hour or something. Now, iodine is interesting. Okay, Jenny, are you still here? I don't know if Jenny is still here or not. Jenny, yep. What was the iodine you were talking about?
It works with the thyroid. It helps with menopause, if you get the sweats. It helps regulate your temperature. Women in Japan who eat a lot of seaweed have a high iodine. They don't get the sweats. It also helps regulate your metabolism as well. So, and it does help warm your feet up. It was for your feet, wasn't it?
That's right. That was the conversation in my deadly cold feet.
You have iodine receptors all over your body. So if you're dealing with things like x-rays and what have you, if your iodine receptors are full of iodine, then you won't get all the x-rays. It just like washes off you. But any excess that you have in women, it'll collect in the breast tissue, and it's very good for fending off breast cancer, and with men, the prostate. So many people don't have very high iodine levels. It's just not in the food anymore.
No, I mean, the problem is it's in table salt, but table salt is like gut rot will kill you. So if you're one of those people who's like me, I haven't eaten table salt in 2 decades. Therefore, that's one of the number one ways of getting iodine in your diet, other than certain types of seaweed, right?
Yeah, but there's something called Ludol's is the one I've got. It's 15% and it's in a bottle, 100 mils. It lasts forever. I've given it away to loads of people. When you use, they say 6 drops, but it tastes like shit. So I put 3 in and just do it for about a week, 10 days, every 3 months, and just keep myself topped up. We do a lot of x-rays and things at work, you see. So I tend to keep mine up because I also have thyroid problems with my endocrine system. And it also helps brain function as well. If you're walking into a room and you think, what did I come in here for? That kind of thing. My mum's getting a little bit forgetful, and I've got her on iodine. And she said she can think so much clearer. So it helps in so many areas.
Okay.
But Danny or Jenny, can I just add something to that, though? You've got to be careful because there are some people that have hypothyroidism. And if they take too much iodine, then it's actually dangerous for the health. So you have to be careful. The other thing is, if you want to get a natural iodine, you should have salts, mineral salts that have sodium chloride in it and a high concentration of potassium iodine or iodide. Sorry, that's where
Yeah,
you'll get
the
your
Ludol
iodide
one
from too.
already has the potassium in it.
Yeah.
Iodine with the potassium. But I think most people that tend to be looking after themselves, they do have a good quality of salt in their diet. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, anything can be overused. Anything, even good for you, can become very bad for you if it's misused, overused, etc. So I had a really good friend of mine who loved her to pieces. She would go on these benders where she would do all this research into stuff, and then she would start taking handfuls of like this vitamin and that vitamin and this. And she literally, you know, the pill organizers that like old people use, like people who've got like Alzheimer's patients and they've got like the full and they're all set up by day and time and everything. She used to have one of those, and it was like every day, oh, this one and this one's for this and this one's for that. And she made herself so freaking sick because she didn't understand interactions. Like, you don't take this with this. And you certainly don't take this with this. And
Always
she,
advice. Always seek advice.
well, yeah, I mean, this is just it. And you also look at things like, you know, how you feel. Now, when you detox, you always kind of feel a little on the side. There's that cleansing, not so well feeling sometimes when you're doing any kind of detoxing, but you keep track of it. That should only last for maybe a day or two, and then you should start feeling better. And if you don't start feeling better, then obviously whatever you're doing may not be right for you. So therefore, stop and go to a naturopath, go to somewhere who you can get some better. Yeah, Jane, 2 hours between herbs. Absolutely. And I say this all the time. If you're doing multiple different things, you need to put breaks. You don't sit there and just take it all at once, or say, I'm going to drink my lemon juice right now for my fast with my cayenne pepper in it, and then I'm going to immediately take like 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C, and then I'm going to immediately take, my MMS shot, and I'm going to then no. It's like, that's not how you do shit. You've got to have some time in between each thing, because a lot of them are counterproductive. Take your 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C and your MMS, they just cancel each other out.
One of the main things with detoxing is get your bowels regular first.
Yeah.
Because that's where you're going to detox. If your bowels aren't regular, your kidneys are going to take a hit.
Yeah.
And you don't want to detox through the kidneys. It's got to be through the bowel. So at least every day, if not more, twice a day, if possible.
Yeah.
Should really after every meal.
Yep. Well, this is another one. This is actually a really important one that most people have never heard of unless they've had fertility issues, progesterone issues. Because our bodies are so inundated with phytoestrogens right now, because they're in pesticides, everything that's made of soy is GMO soy. It's the highest quantity of fucking phytoestrogens on the planet, above and beyond even birth control pills. And men as well. No, it's not just women, obviously. I mean, this is why we now have got men getting breast cancer and all of these kinds of things, right? One of the best, easiest things for cleansing out excess estrogen is broccoli. I mean, that entire family of the cruciferous vegetables, but broccoli it grabs, obviously you want organic if you can get it, but organic broccoli, steamed broccoli, every day for like a month, and drink a lot of water with it. It literally binds to estrogen all over your frickin' system, and just binds it, grabs it, and then just dumps it out. And it is miraculous. Like, I've had, because of all the stuff I used to do with childbirth and pregnancy and stuff, how many women would be like, I can't get pregnant. I can't get pregnant. I'd be like, okay. And you run through the questionnaire of like, okay, are you having lots of periods that are happening like a couple days late or a week late? Have you had times when you thought you may have been pregnant, but then you get your period? And whenever they answer yes to that, and if they do charting, you can also tell by the charts and the basal body temperature times. is if they have what the doctors call a lack of progesterone. Actually isn't a lack of progesterone. It's just that they've got so much estrogen that their body cannot balance out the progesterone and the estrogen to manage to keep a pregnancy going. Because basically, once you get to the 6th week, the progesterone should kick in to keep the pregnancy viable. And if there's too much estrogen, the body just cycles back through and you have a period and you have an automatic abortion. So how many women within 2 months were pregnant when they were trying to have babies? And it was broccoli and fucking water, because it just binds into all of those phytoestrogens, stuff that you've had in your system and just pulls it all out. Oh, listen, Deb, it's horrific right now. We have the age of puberty, the average age of puberty in North America has dropped. The average age for puberty in North America right now is 10 and a half for girls. 10 and a half. You can't tell me that's normal. That's not, I mean, when I was a teenager, the average age of puberty was like 13 and a half, 14. And I was like right smack on the normal line. Okay. Now we're looking at 10 and a half is the average age. Average. It means that's the 50 percentile. Like there's that many girls afterwards that are getting it younger than 10 and a half. And it's the soy, it's the phytoestrogens, and we are inundated with it. There's been multiple studies now, and especially if you drink tap water, how much hormones are in the tap water is ludicrous. It's like a ridiculous amount of hormones in the tap water, as far as estrogen in the tap water right now, in a lot of places in the States. And they make some stupid comment. I listened to some guy, this was about 2009, some guy who worked for Carl, what is it, the government agency that looks after water in Canada. Fucking, it's gone out of my head. Anyways, the official stuff. Yeah,
got me on that one.
Not the EPA, like that's the States, but there's one body of official body in Canada who looks after like water. And
I'll come back to you in a minute.
Okay, and then I'll remember at 3:00 in the morning tonight. And some guy interviewing saying, "Oh, well, it's all these people are flushing their birth control pills down the toilet. That's what it is." And literally, it was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" First of all, why would women be flushing their birth control pills down the toilet? No. What it is all the fucking soy and the fucking pesticides that all act as creating phytoestrogens everywhere. So yeah, exactly. Give me a break. Yeah, soy is poison. For me, as far as soy, I love soy sauce. You can't get away from that. I will only buy traditional Japanese soy sauce that has been made in Japan, because they're very, very, there's a very traditional way that soy sauce is fermented, how they make the soy sauce. And it is really, really, it's not as bad for you, nowhere near as bad for you as North America. All the Chinese soy sauce and the crap that you get in North America, I won't touch the stuff. Only stuff that's made. Canadian Water Resources Association. Well, that's a new name for it. That's not the one I'm thinking of, Tom, but thank you. Yeah, but that's just it, Tara. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, this is like my kids. My youngest daughter both my girls were 10 and a half and 11 when they got their periods. And that was just, they not heavy pesticide overload, because we tried to eat as organic as much as possible. They never had frickin' soy in their entire lives. They never had tap water, but it doesn't matter. The problem is it's now so pervasive across the board that it becomes a triggering mechanism as well. And we know this. We know hormones trigger hormones, right? So if you are you in a classroom full of girls, or if a whole bunch of girls are all together, and some of them are their periods are coming on, they're going through puberty, that is enough to trigger the other people around them to actually have similar reactions. Oh, I had read that too, Gigi. She said, when soy is fermented, it changes. Exactly. After Hiroshima, it was found that there was a much higher survival rate amongst those who consumed miso on a daily basis. I had read that. Huh. Interesting, Charlotte. Well, I mean, doesn't that just tell us right there? Charlotte just said, out here in the mountains where we eat out of the garden and we have well water, the girls aren't starting puberty until middle school at around 13. So there you go. You're looking at, again, what's the difference? Well water and eating out of your own garden. So i.e. not stuff completely saturated in all this fucking pesticides. Oh yeah. I tell you, I wish I had a field here, because I would be fucking growing all my own shit. As it is, if I had been able to get things together, I wanted to actually start building a rooftop garden on the roof of our house, because we have a big flat. God knows we have probably a quarter acre of rooftop on the top of our house that we could utilize to build like gardens in. So, well, I mean, that's it, Stacy. That's the problem with wells. That is the problem with wells, is when you have all the fracking that you're doing, mining, oil industry, natural gas, et cetera, there's a lot of water level stuff that's been a real problem. Yeah, no, Tom, that's exactly it. Grow vertical more and more. And look, this is it. Like I've got all kinds of designs for vertical gardens that could be grown up on the roof. Even we've got a couple little corners of the roof which are a little more sheltered from the wind, because we're really close. We're right on the coast. So unfortunately, you have that much salt in the air. It's sometimes hard to grow certain things. But again, you can grow, we were joking and saying, put a whole line of bamboo and grow a whole line of bamboo across the one wall that's the seaward side, just to try and act as like a wind filter and a wind shelter for all the salts coming in. Yeah, the only problem is, Gigi, about the whole thing about labeling when it comes to GMO stuff is a lot of people don't realize that they have legally changed laws on the use of certain words, and one of the words is organic. And now they can call shit organic, and it can actually have genetically modified stuff in the product, and they can still call it organic. To the point of, the FDA passed a law in 2014 for the benefits of the farmers, of course, right? And the organic producers, of course, that if you were making, let's say, organic bread, but the cost of the organic flour was prohibitive over the cost of normal flour, that you could use normal flour instead of organic flour and still call it organic. Because they can't, it would be, what do they say? It would be by forcing these poor companies to use or to pay so much extra for organic is unfair. Literally. And yet you can still use the word pure, natural, organic. Someone who was here bought some sweetener, and it was called stevia, and it's by Sweet and Low. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry, it's not actually stevia. Sweet and Low has made another fucking chemical sugar-free sweetener, and they've copyrighted the brand name to be stevia. So therefore, people read it, see stevia, think it's the natural plant stevia sweetener, not realizing that, no, that's just the name of it. It's just a brand name. There's not a single scrap of stevia anywhere in it. And this is what's all over the place. It is, Marseille, it is fraud. It's totally and complete fraud. It's not even a question. Oh, that's cool, Charlotte. I wish.
Danny, I just want to go back to the water again a minute.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things, because obviously I have well water here, and I used to have municipal water at the place I lived at maybe 5 years ago. Now, I did research on stuff that you could use to filter out the crap that was in the water supply.
Okay.
Either municipal or well water. Now, I'm just going to throw a link in. There you go. There's a link in the chat.
Aquasana. I know Aquasana really well. My sister used to sell Aquasana.
Yeah, well, actually, they're based in the US. I think that's an actual US address, but there is there's a Canadian company as well. The drawback that I found was it was actually cheaper for me to order it then, anyway, from the US and have them ship it to me than it was to go and buy it from the Canadian distributor. Crazy, but it might actually be reversed a little bit now because the Canadian dollar and US dollar's gone funky, weird. But something like that, whole house water filter, and they work for thousands of gallons, and they'll do anywhere between 5 and 10 years out of one of these filters. So it might sound expensive to pay, $900, but it's going to last you 10 years. Well, the other alternative is Berkey filters, which is what I have here.
Well, just on, I don't know the Berkey one, but the Aquasana, my sister sold them for a very short time. And the first thing she did was buy one for the house. And her and my parents share a house. And my mom said, the amount of money they saved on laundry soap, dish soap, shampoo, soap, everything, just in the amount of money they saved on detergents and soaps, paid for the system, because you use so much less because your water's not hard anymore. It takes the hardness level of the water, so you actually use way less of all those things. So
well, if you double up, you're right there, Danny. It's true. It does soften the water a little bit, but you can add high grade neodymium magnets, or there's electronic water conditioners that you can get, where it's basically you wrap wires around the pipe and it conditions the water and softens the water. So the filter, and in conjunction with that, really makes the water really soft, to the extent where well, you know what happens with the kettles, don't you? They fur up lime scale and you have to throw them away. Either that, or you have to dip them in vinegar for a week for them to descale.
Good old-fashioned CLR, trying to clean out the frickin' shower heads.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the setup that I have here now, I don't have to do that. It conditions it and softens it so much that the calcium's still in the water, but I can just get a dish brush and just rinse inside, just brush the inside, get water, rinse it all out, dump it, and it's clear. That's how soft it's become. So, yeah, there's really some good stuff there.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, like you, remember I did all the research before I went and bought it.
Yeah. Well, I just said I've looked at a lot of different ones, and first of all, we have to live in some place just for a long enough time to actually get to the point of looking at things like water filtration systems, which we never ever live in one place long enough to do that. But that's one of the things. I've looked at the reverse osmosis, and I've looked at the various other systems and said, once we ever get to a point of staying in one place long enough that we either buy a house or build a house or whatever, I said a water system is going to be an absolute must. Absolute must.
Hey, Carl. This is Dawn. I have a question on that system that you just put the link in on. How much does it cost to have something like that installed?
It's not actually that expensive. You do need a plumber to be able to do it, but what happens is that you take a piece of pipe, your normal water incoming. You cut a piece out, and then you just push this in place, and 2 nuts on either side, get them to tighten it off, and then that's it. That's your water system done.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't remember how much they cost. It was a couple of $1,000 though. Like it wasn't.
No. You can get them now for, mind you, there's a conversion to Canadian, but it'll last you 10 years, and it's probably about $1,100 or $1,200 Canadian. They're down at about $900 US. The one I posted, I think, is about $900 US. But they have different ones. If you go back to their main site and you look at the different ones, there's lake water version, well water version. Excuse me. And the well water, basically what it does is it has a separate module so that you can drop chlorine tablets in it. So it takes out all of the iron bacteria and all that other crap that you'll get from well systems. But then, of course, it goes into the filtration system and it takes the chlorine out. So you don't end up drinking that. It just cleans the water first to kind of defuzz it. But yeah, there's all sorts of different options. And it lasts so long. Actually, the one that I installed in my old house, my sister's still living there and it's still functioning. And that was 7 years ago.
Yeah.
So mind you, theirs is due for a change because theirs was the older model. So it's due for a change now. But it's great because it's municipal water. They have chloramine in their water supply. And you don't get to smell any of it, you know, when you turn the tap on, have a shower. It's just clean water.
You don't feel like you're having a bath in a swimming pool.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
did that answer the question, Dawn? I don't know if she got that. I did answer. I don't know if that was sufficient answer for her.
That's great. That's what I needed to know.
Okay, good.
I have a good visual of it in my head now. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah. No, I mean, I need a distiller too. I mean, that's what I've been saying for ages. I keep putting it off, saying I need to do the homework and find a good distiller and get that set up. Yeah, definitely need distilled water. It would be nice. It's on the to-do list. My to-do list is very, very long. Very, very long. Oh, and a total advertising moment, advertising plug. Gaia's Garden is going to be up and running. We're going to be building the Gaia's Garden shop in the RTS.EARTH shopping mall, hopefully in the next week or so. I've got to get pictures and stuff taken. So one of the things that we will have will be the black seed oil, because a lot of people have been asking me about the black seed oil. So the black seed oil, right now I only have 100 ml bottles, just because of we only had the money to order one size of bottle. So I only have 100 ml bottles. But yes, that is going to be one of the things that will be available, will be the pure black seed oil, which is absolutely phenomenal. I have to admit, when I remember to take it, which I'm really bad at remembering to take anything, when I first got hit with all of this crap and crud, I started taking it every night, just a tablespoon of black seed oil and like a shot glass full of orange juice, and mix it up really, really fast and take it back. It fucking helps. It really, really fucking helped, I tell ya. Yeah, now we have horrific low water pressure in this house. It's gravity fed. Basically, there's tanks on the roof and it's gravity fed. And black seed, Julie, black seed oil. Black as in the color. Nigella sativa. Yeah, it doesn't taste that bad, guys. It doesn't taste that bad. You get used to it. It does have a strong flavor, though. Yes, it does have a strong flavor. Yeah, no, I keep joking, saying we need to replace all the shower heads. Carl, what we're saying about the line buildup. Yeah. We live in an island that is made of a solid block of limestone. If there's one thing we have, it's fucking hard water. And you basically take your shower heads, you just buy cheap-ass ones because you have to throw them away about every 2 years because there's no fixing them, there's no cleaning them. So I have 2 shower heads here in this house, and it's like washing my hair is like, oh, 45 minutes later, I think I've got it rinsed out now. Maybe. So, yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Earlier on when we were talking about the detoxing, and it went past and I couldn't find it. Somebody mentioned about joint pain, the muscles and the joints, the detoxing. What was the specific detox for that? Because I'm in agony at the moment.
Yeah, so am I. Someone
There's a
brought it
few
up.
for that, Gail, to be honest, because if your joints are in pain, the chances are that it's actually your body that's attacking itself.
Okay.
So 2 things: you need to alkaline your body for sure. So remove any kind of acidic input, food, drinks, stuff like that. Bicarbonate of soda, that will alkaline your body a little bit. The rest of it is a good flush is just drink as much water as you can, during the day.
Gozo was so good for me because I just drunk so much water, and it got me back into the habit of drinking water again. But the joint pain, I've been meaning to do the alkaline thing for such a long time, and just haven't done it. So what would be the best thing to do for that then?
Bicarbonate soda.
Soda and water.
Yeah. Water and bicarbonate of soda.
So how do you take the bicarb then?
Well, you can take 2 teaspoons mixed in a glass of water. Just stir it and stir it and stir it. Make sure it's well mixed in, and then just drink it down.
And that's just
it doesn't taste particularly good, but if you drink it quick enough and you mix it in enough, then it's easy to drink. But I typically, to start with, I would do that twice a day. So do it separately. So if you're going to have a morning drink of tea or coffee or anything like that, do that if you want. I would suggest stopping doing that for the moment, because coffee actually is acidic. And just have the water, and then later on in the late afternoon, early evening, do another one. But drink water through the day. Have you got tap water, or you're in England?
Yeah,
so you probably
but
don't.
I don't actually drink the tap water. I drink bottled water. I can't drink the tap water here. It's just too chlorinated.
Yeah, no, I know that feeling. The only other thing with bottled water, and especially if you're going to do this, I usually recommend mineralized water, or water with minerals in it, not what's the other one?
Demineralized and the reverse osmosis.
RO water's dead. Even distilled water is okay. It's not bad water, but it's still kind of a dead water because it doesn't have any minerals in it. You should probably drink water that's mineralized, spring water rather than remineralized, because most of the remineralized is synthetic minerals, and the body can't deal with them anyway.
So is it best to get a gadget for that, or can you buy it quite readily?
For the mineralized? No, just check the water that you're going to buy from the store. If you buy bottled water, try and find spring water, and look for natural rather than a synthetic listing in the ingredients. If it just says natural spring water, the chances are that it'll be fairly close.
I'm 20 minutes from Cheddar. It shouldn't be too hard to find something from around here.
Yeah, as natural as you can get it. I mean, out of a well is always best, but you don't find them that much in England. I know, I used to live there, so.
Let me add something.
Okay, thanks.
I'm going to do is I'm going to buy, you can go online and buy empty gel caps. You can buy like 2,000 empty gel caps and just fill them up with your soda bicarbonate, and then just take it that way.
Good plan.
Let me
Yes.
Honey and lemon helps hide the taste as well. Honey and lemon. But Gail, do you bathe in like Epsom salts or?
We haven't got a bath. It's only a shower that's here.
Shame.
Yeah,
Now,
shame.
go
Because
back.
Epsom salts or magnesium chloride would have been brilliant too to help.
Foot bath. Now your feet are one of your most absorbent points on your body. You can treat your feet. If you don't have a bath, treat your feet. And
Okay.
Nick fights with athlete's foot all the time. And all he does now is he puts a little bit of baking soda and the Cowlin clay in his shoes. And just you walking around in that all day. And he does it about once every 2 months for about 3 or 4 days. And literally, you should see that what happens to the bottoms of his feet. Like it literally, all the skin literally starts, the grimy skin that's been infested with fungus just peels right off. And he swears it makes him feel better, like physically feel better, because your body's absorbing all that bicarbonate through the soles of your feet. So if you don't have a bath, get a bucket of water, put a shitload of Epsom salts in it. The extra magnesium on top of it is even really good. A little borax, and fucking soak your feet every night for like a week. That is a really good, actually, that's a really, really good detox method for everyone, and everyone can do it. Just go to the pharmacy, make sure you get unfragranced, get plain Epsom salts. The problem is now they put a lot of frilly fucking perfume shit in there. Plain Epsom salts. And if you can add a good heaping tablespoon of plain, like, what is it, 100 mule borax? What is it? Mule brand borax that you get in the laundry aisle. Tablespoon of that in there and soak your feet for 20, there you go, 20 mule team. There you go. 100 mule, 20 mule, 10 mule. It's a whole pile of mules and they make good borax. And soak your feet for like a good 15, 20 minutes and do it every night for like a week. Fucking really, really good detox. And I'm going to start doing that. I will actually going to start doing that myself then.
Danny, I don't know whether you've got any preference for the magnesium, but it's easy to get hold of Epsom salts, but of course that's magnesium sulfate. The body tends to expel that pretty quickly. Magnesium chloride would be the better way to go if you can find magnesium chloride flakes or crystals, as, you know, and as pure as you can get.
Well, someone take notes. Someone take notes of all this. I hope someone in the chat room is taking notes of all this, and we'll.
Well, don't forget it's being recorded, so you have to play it back.
It's being recorded. That's right. There we go.
You know what my memory's like.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you. Thanks, Carl. Thanks, guys.
But yeah, that's a really, really important one, is being able, knowing about the foot detoxing. If you can get them, and maybe someone can help me with what they're called. There is a foot bath detox system that they do. My girlfriend Moosh has one, and she can't find this stupid adapter piece for it. We've all been saying, damn it, you need to find it. And basically it's like, you know, the typical foot spa, and it puts a coil in it and you plug it in, and then you wear another adapter that attaches with wires to like your finger or your wrist. And it's like kind of like a chelation type thing. And the water turns the most horrific colors you will ever see, because it pulls all the toxins out of your body and into the foot spa. And does anyone know what that's called? Because it's gone right out of my head for some reason.
There are a few different ones. I'm just pulling a link because I did research on them for my wife a few years ago.
There's a name for that. There's a name, not just for like a brand name, but there's an actual one for it. And
it's Chi something. But actually, this one's called Platinum Energy. This was one of the best ones that I found, because some of them basically just doing an electrolysis in the water, and that's what turns the color. But you want to get one that actually does remove stuff from your system, which apparently this one does. So I put that in the link there. It's Platinum Energy Systems. They're based in actually West Canada, BC way, I think.
Okay. Well, this is one of those things we had them when we were here in Malta. I used mooshes. I got sick with it. Just a bunch of us, all over that winter colds, right? So moosh pulled over the foot spa, and we started doing it. We did it every night for about 4 nights, and literally you watch it. And the first night, the water turns black, and I mean, literally, you will be mortified. And then the next night, it was more like a brownish color, and then the next night, it was kind of like a more of a tan. Until like the last night, it was just barely a little bit yellow. And you're supposed to do it for, I think, 4 or 5 nights in a row, or 4 or 5 days in a row, or maybe every second day. I can't remember, but it was a way that you're supposed to do it. And you can see, like,
Every
the color.
second day it was, Danny.
Was it every second day? And then
Yeah.
it was like, you could see the change of color. Like the first time you did it, it was like literally horrifying. Like, it was like, okay, I need to go have a bath now. Just knowing that just came out of me, I need to go have a bath. Like, that was how gross it felt to see this stuff. But the color, as you went through it, the colors got lighter over the course of the week from the water, because it was less stuff, I guess, to pull out. We're still trying to find hers. She can't find the little wrist piece that goes with hers. It's packed in one of the boxes somewhere. Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. The vortex. Well, we talked about the vortexing of the water on Sunday, right? That's another one to look into. Thank you, Violet. That's a good one. So that's excellent. We'll take a look at that too. I don't know. Maybe, John. Maybe we should maybe approach some of these companies and be like, we have a group of people who are all very, very interested, and maybe we can like set up some kind of like a group type, sales type thing where they'll give us a discount through a group or whatever. We'll see if we can do something like that. Because some of these are really, 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 really good things to have. If you go together as a group, I don't see why we couldn't figure out a way to make it, cheaper.
That water magnetizer implosion thing that Violet put in there.
Yeah.
I know some of them are kind of overpriced, because what they have inside them is basically a piece of maybe 3-inch piping, and inside they have glass marbles inside, and then the water, obviously under pressure, gets forced through that. They also have magnets inside them as well. But what was pointed out on a lot of them, that these little glass marbles, when they're all smashing against each other under this pressure, you end up with micro splinters of glass going through in the water. So they're not, you've got to be careful which ones you go for. Yeah,
that would make a lot of sense. Well, like anything, it's all about doing your homework. Everyone has to do homework. But this is one of the things I want to do. So like in the RTS, the health area and the forum, is getting all this kind of information put in there, so we can have things like we do lists of like foot spas, and then have a bunch of lists where people can put in their personal recommend, which one they used, which one they liked, which one worked, what didn't work. The water purifiers. Everyone always asks, like, what water purifier can you get to get rid of fluoride? Like, that's one of the most common questions I hear all the time, and yet I still don't know the answer to that. So
Berkey have one at the moment, Danny. They have a fluoride filter for the Berkey filters.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, they do. They're not cheap, mind you, but you have to replace them obviously fairly frequently, because they'll come up with fluoride.
Crap.
But yeah, they have a few different ones available for the Berkey filters.
Okay, cool. Yeah, unfucking consumer report. Stacy, I like it. John, we need the unfucking consumer report. That's another thing. We get everyone to put in their 2 cents. What works, what doesn't work, what they recommend, and what they don't recommend, right? Pardon me. And we've all done it. We've used products and been like, yeah, don't spend the money on those vitamins. Like, just don't, stay away from that brand, because seriously, poor quality. Or
yeah, that'll be part of the wiki again. Putting a call out. We need somebody to take on the wiki.
Ah, yes. Oh, and Anne, I have to tell you. So Logan got sick, and when Logan got sick was in the middle of a whole bunch of stuff when he got the fever, and he got really, really delirious. So this was what, like about a week and a half ago. And then Kale got sick. And Kale woke up with just, he came and crawled into bed with me, and all of a sudden it was like, oh my God, you're so hot. I was like, oh shit, he's got the fever. And I was like, he's much calmer with the fever, whereas Logan does, as soon as his fever temperature goes up even a degree, he goes into the delirium. Like he really goes delirious instantaneously. Kale's much calmer. So I was like, right, we're going to look after we'll go into Anne's little kit. And I pulled out the homeopathic kit, and I pulled out the book, and I was going through it, and I immediately was looking at fevers and the different remedies for the fevers, and one immediately jumped out. Like, and I mean, quite literally, it jumped out at me on the page, and I was like, oh, that's the one we're going to use. And I gave it to him, and he literally, within 15 minutes, his fever went down. He was a calm little boy. He very quiet, but very calm all day. Towards evening time, his fever started, you can see his temperature starting to raise up. I gave him 2 more, and all night. And the next day, he was completely fine. So that whole thing about, like, you know, like, go with your instincts type thing, I just knew right away, instantly, which was the remedy. And it literally jumped out at me on the page. I was like, nope, that's the one I'm going to use. So I meant to tell you that before when we were chatting, and I forgot. Thank you for my emergency homeopathy kit. It's come in quite handy, especially the arnica.
You're welcome. And that's something we possibly should have in the shop as well. I don't put them together. It's a friend of mine who lives in LA. And they're really, really useful for parents who want to start taking back responsibility for their own health and treating fevers and coughs and colds and stuff like that. It's a really good kit.
Yeah, it is a brilliant, it's just a little, and I had one, same brand actually, and which was why I giggled when I opened up yours. I was like, oh, it's the same one that I have. But like I said, mine was like 3.5 years old. And it's like a little plastic case, about this big, literally nice and small, maybe about that high, for about that big. And you just flip it open, and inside there's like the foam that's been cut out, so it keeps all the little bottles perfectly still. And there's, I don't know how many remedies are in it. 15.
I think you've got 18. There's a third as well.
Yep. So, and it's got like 18 of the most common remedies, and it comes with a little booklet where you can look up the common things like fever or, you know, nausea, things like that. And you can look it up, and it gives you it gives you the, you know, the typical homeopathic description of this kind of a fever with redness of the cheeks, and or fever with it's intermittent that comes and goes. And you can look up, and then it tells you exactly which one to take. And I swear those first aid kits are worth every freaking penny, because I've used the hell out of mine. And the one that you just brought me, I'm going to use the hell out of that too, because I swear every parent should have one of these in their house, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah,
it gives you the tools to treat pretty much anything that comes up in an acute way.
Yeah.
So really important for, you know, especially for young parents who are seeing their kids through the first 7 years of their immune development, when they need to get sick and they need to learn how to use their immune system.
Yeah.
Homeopathy works with it rather than suppressing it.
Yeah, exactly. So yes, you should definitely talk to your friend about figuring it out and have those in the shop, because I am a huge supporter of those things. Those first aid kits are just phenomenal. Mm-hmm. And not just for kids, like I mean, for grown-ups too. Like we all go through, you're sick, you've got bumps, you've got sprains, you've got strains, you've got headaches, you get, you know, all of these kind of things. So yeah, they're really, really ideal. Really ideal. And that's pretty much it, guys. Believe it or not, 2 hours has gone by. Again, apparently, just zip right on by there. And yeah, Dawn, you and I still need to talk about that stuff too. We need to set up a time to do that discussion.
A conference call. So you're gonna have to go live video with me, so just be prepared.
Tee hee hee. I'll be prepared. I promise. Ha,
We'll
ha, ha.
talk first. We'll talk first.
Exactly. Okay, guys. Well, that's it. That was a really good, fun discussion. I like when we talk remedies and when we talk about, and everyone brings their little pieces to the table because everyone's got their tried and true, which really works for them. And I think that's phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Danny, just remind everybody about Discord chat through the RTS group as well.
The Discord chat is in, if you go to the RTS.EARTH, up in the chat, the live chat section, you can use Discord and get on with everyone there and chat, and you can do verbal calls. They don't do video, but they do verbal audio calls, so you can actually get right in and have chit chats with everyone. It's a great way of meeting up with everyone.
Danny, they're going to be doing videos soon.
I've heard that. I've heard that they're going to be doing videos soon, but there's been no release date. Damn, I had one other thing I was going to add to this. Damn it. Earl, I blame you. You just distracted me.
That's okay. My man blames me for a lot of shit. So, you know, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I had one more thing to add to all of this, and now I can't remember what it was. Oh, right. That's it. Yeah. If anything this week, yeah, it was the impetus I needed to say the Unfuckers Facebook page is shutting down very, very soon. I'm going to archive the page, and there's a very good chance it will probably be archived on Monday. So everyone needs to get on RTS.EARTH, get your asses over, start using the thing. The wall is super easy to use. The groups are super easy to use, just like Facebook. And we've got, we're still going to be twitching little pieces of it and adding some more little bits and pieces here and there. But it's really, really nice functionality right now. Like, it's not glitching that much. If you're having an issue signing up, unfortunately, apparently, a bunch of email servers have categorized RTS.EARTH emails as spam. So basically,
Danny, that's inaccurate. It's the other way around. iPage, Mac.com, the one of the Google servers are the ones that are listed as source of spam. So if you're on an Apple, if you're using Apple Mail, you're probably not going to get the validation emails and that sort of stuff. Try a different server, different mail system. Gmail is typically really good. Most of my accounts are Ymail. I don't know if that's even exists anymore, but it used to be Yahoo Mail, but now it's all Google because everything's Google.
It's everything.
But Hotmail works. Hotmail, we've had no trouble with the Hotmail, people on Hotmail, but people using Apple Mail, iMail, Mac.com, are almost none of them are getting these. So just be aware, if you're not getting the validation email, it's probably being blocked because of a spam server.
Yeah, and what we're doing is basically right now, like every couple of days, I'm going through the users, all the ones that are pending, like the activation has not been clicked. I'm going in and activating them myself. So even if you do it, and same thing, Gail did it. We got her signed up. She didn't get her activation email. I went in and was like, right, hold on, click, boom, okay, you're activated. Now there you go. So if you can't get
Can
in,
I just add to that, Danny, as well? Sorry.
Yeah.
In addition to what John said there, it is possible. Most people get their email through a device or through a client, Outlook, for instance, on a PC, or some form of client install software on their machines. It is possible, if you can get to a computer and you log into the webmail or the mail portal of whoever your internet provider is, But sometimes you can go in there and there is a separate spam folder that you can see that you will not see on your software because it doesn't get downloaded. It's something that you can only see when you log directly into your internet providers or mail providers servers.
Yeah.
Not always. I mean, Apple might be an issue because everybody does it on iPads and iPhones. So I'm not sure if there is a way to see it separately. But some other providers, yeah, you can do that. So if possible, go in there, set up your web portal, and also add the RTS.EARTH domain as a whitelist so that you hopefully won't be bouncing any future emails either.
Yeah, exactly. So yes, I will put a post up in the Unfuckers group, let everyone know that I think I've just arbitrarily decided Monday I will be archiving the entire group. And I will see all of you Monday morning over on RTS.EARTH. That's it. No more fucking Facebook. Yeah. Okay, guys. We're done. Everyone go detox. Take your baking soda. Soak your feet. Drink lemon juice and water. It's a good thing. Okay, guys. Bye.